Long day lady low.
Hello everybody, Jason Bascom here from Unhinged Entertainment.
There's bound to be terror, ism, and schism, grinding on in droves.
Professional illustrator, amateur comic book artist.
We are the ones who must want the position. Deep here, trending click, lesbian love is accepted and right. Shade head, speed hair in the mix, blending the 80s and 90s with me.
Yeah, so I was gonna finish up that Joker actually. I was gonna clean it up, finish it up. I was actually started recording a video and my Photoshop froze up, and when I closed it I didn't save it. So that one's gone the way of the dodo. But we're gonna do something different. We're gonna do a different drawing. I like to call these how I draw them because it's how I draw them in my style. I could show you the proper quote unquote method, but I say proper just because, you know, anatomically and all that stuff, or, you know, this is how a real person will look. And I can, if you want, leave comments down below. But for this one, we'll do what, Spider-Man. Yeah, we're gonna do Spider-Man. I'll do a little bit of Spider-Man. We'll see how far it goes. I wanted these to be under 10 minutes. It's probably not gonna happen. The last one was 30. The only way to make them 10 minutes is if I speed them up. Pardon me. And these are follow along tutorials, but I guess you could slow it down if you chose to. In YouTube, you could, you know, click the little gear icon and reduce the speed. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let me show you how I draw Spider-Man. So we're gonna go ahead and work in Photoshop again. Here we go. And this is a 9x12 canvas. Create a new layer. You can't see these because of the way Adobe or OBS records. It just records Photoshop. It doesn't record all these other little windows over here that I can see. So it's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, I could just record the whole screen, I guess. That probably would work. It actually would work. Why am I not doing that? I don't know. Right now we're just recording in Photoshop, but I don't know, I was thinking briefly there. Maybe I should. Alright, I'm going to draw a typical pose that I normally do. So we're going to, at least let's start with his head at least. You know. Alright, so with Spider-Man has more of an oval head. Like I said, Joker before had more of a cylinder. Spider-Man is more of an oval head. Still same principles. Even though he's going to have the mask on, we're going to... Alright, as you can see, I go over lines a lot. Alright, even though you want to draw the crosshairs of where his eyes will be, and keep in mind, heads, you know, circles, they have, you know, shape to them. You know, if this is the light source hitting it, they have shape. So they curve. So your head isn't straight across. I mean, you could do it that way too, I guess, but I like to curve it because your head is not flat. Although I kind of draw him flat. So, all right, so there's his head. You don't, with Spider-Man, I don't really draw his, you know, those lines. I don't draw his nose and mouth lines. I tend to just draw the eye one for placement. And, all right, so Spider-Man is a wonky dude. He's spidery. So with bodies, for right now I'm just going to draw like where his spine is going to maybe be. So like his neck is going to go here and come up that way. So you really wouldn't see his neck too much in the back of his neck. But this is his spine. He's going to arc. And this will be like his hip area. A little hippity hip hop. Don't tip top till you don't stop. And then this is going to be one of his pelvis joints thingies, leg joints. And let's see, come out that way. Or you know what? We wanted to come out that way. See, this is how I work. Do we want it to come out this way? Let's see here. See, this would be his thigh. Alright, let's do that. Let's have it come down that way. And then his calf this way. Foots are like triangles, kind of. There you go. And you want his other leg. See, this is his butt right here. So there's his hip. So you want his other pelvis area is going to be over here somewhere. So you're going to want to pop that over there. Like it's just a straight line across. And let's put that straight up. Like he's dancing. He's dancing. Alright, and it kind of goes off the page. But you know what? We're going to bring it in. Like his knee would be way over here somewhere. So his knee would be off the page. And his calf would come down. And his foot is going to overtake the rest of it. So there you go. Spider-Man doesn't bend properly. All right, so this would be like his padding of his other foot, and then the inside arch. It arches. So there you go. All right, and I like to make those. I'll make those bigger in a minute. So there you go. So and now you get his arm. So if this is his. This would be one of his. You got his neck here, back. So his arm, shoulder would be right here. We're gonna have his arm come. Ignore that. Sorry about that. So yeah, his shoulder will be about here, and this comes into the clavicle area. You get a view shape for your clavicle. I believe it's your clavicle, and then it'll come up to the other arm over there. But we'll get that in a second. All right, it's gonna come between his legs. And then, so you have arm. Like this is just the wireframe. I'm not placing in anything except for joints and where limbs are going to go. So there's his elbow, comes down, connects to his wrist, and there's his hand. Right here. He's going to be, there you go, there's his hand. Alright, his thumb's on the inside of your body, so there you go. And it's going to go over top of that foot. And his other hand, since clavicle comes up this way, other there's his other. See, now you're getting form because there's his other shoulder, which connects to his torso, his chesticles, and curves in. And like I said, this is how I draw them. I don't draw them all perfect. So. Alright, so you got his other shoulder there. Like, it's behind his head, but we're going to delete all this. We're going to delete in a minute. So you have his other shoulder, and it's going to pop out. It's going to go in the distance. So this will be like his elbow. And since it's called foreshortening, so it gets smaller as it goes. So his forearm isn't going to be as big. And you put his other hand back here. So there you go. Now we're going to get rid of all this area. All this information in here. So that's my wireframe for Spider-Man. Now I go in and I relay or redo some of these lines for the placement. There you go. Now you have your wireframe, and this is where I differ from a lot of people. You can go in and some people will draw the cylinder for your arm. Like if you my phone is, sorry, I gotta make sure it's not certain people texting me. Okay, so for your like arms usually have cylindrical shapes. You know, there's that for your you know, your upper arm. Here's your forearm. Like if I were to draw the Spider-Man with these cylindrical shapes, you could do this too. This is his elbow right here, joint area, and then wrist, hand. This is that same form that I had. Block. And then fingers. He's making a fist, so finger, finger, finger. And then thumb, finger. So you could do that and then go in and, shoulder. And then go in and place your muscles in. Then that way, shoulder is going to come in. Up and down. And then you got your tricep. That's you got your tricep down here, your bicep up here, the way this arm is positioned, you would probably see the tricep area. And then his elbow is down here. And then with your forearm, that comes into the tricep, or into the bicep, I mean, because your bicep goes into your tricep here. So, and then that comes in that way. So that's, you know, essentially how you would make, you know, his arm if you wanted to go that cylinder route, and you could just lay those in and then, you know, place your muscles in. You can look at an anatomy book too. I learned from some anatomy books and some comics, so you know that's why my style is the way it is. But so you could do that, and then you know, Spider-Man, he's got that thing. He's got his costume comes up this way. There you go, and then web. So you can go that route. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I do the wireframe, and then I come in and I tighten things up. Like with him, I don't like how big his head is, so we're going to fix this. Is with normally, if you're working traditionally, you could just erase his head. It's fine. I'm going to go ahead and, you know what, we'll do it. I'll just delete his head. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I was going to say I could just shrink it with Photoshop, but we're going to just go ahead and delete his head. That way I could do it what you do. So we're going to erase his head. I don't like how big it was. There we go. It was too big. So there you go. And then the rest of it still stays the same. This comes in that way. Alright. Now, this is still not too off the wall from a normal position, because I could also put his head way down here and his neck curved up and make him all wonky. We're not going to do that. We're just going to... I'm not going to tilt his head too much, because I do want you to see how I put in his head. So, there you go. That's my wireframe. Spider-Man looking all wonky. And here's what I do. Let me delete this layer. I add another layer, or I reduce his opacity once again, 35%, and then add a layer. There you go. And then now I didn't, as you notice with the underdrawing, I didn't draw in his eyeballs. I didn't draw in his nose. And you can. Hey, I'm Spider-Man. Hey. You can if you want. It's a waste to me since he's wearing a mask. So with Spider-Man, the crosshairs are mainly for his bug eyes. And I draw my Spider-Man bug eyes kind of McFarlane-ish. I like them big. So they're kind of like tear ducts. They come up that way. And then this is in foreshortening. And then the crosshairs are because these pointy things, they're right where the crosshairs are. So it comes up, point. That's where the crosshair is. So, and this is going to come down. And then my Spidey, I kind of like to give him a flat face. I don't know why. I just do. And then that, see, that's too much. That's going to come up that way. That's going to come that way. And there you go. And then you just thicken it up for the interior. The bottom part is thicker than the sides and the top. And you could do a selection and then control backspace, and it'll fill the entire thing. You can make the brush bigger and use pen pressure. I mean, if you're working digitally, if you're working traditionally, you just vary your marker, vary your pens and your nibs. There you go. So there, I mean, essentially, if you want to draw Spider-Man's face, I just showed you how I do it. So, and then I like I said, I like to draw his face flat, kinda, because normally his nose would come out. I kind of like to draw it flat, and I don't know. I think it looks cooler, more bug-like. Put in his chin, and then head comes back, connects that way. I want to get rid of that chin. I don't like where it is. Alright. I'm going to skinny it up. There we go. Like I said, amateur comic artist. I edit as I go. Alright. And then I do these later usually, but that crosshair that you saw, that's his initial web that goes down his let's take the bottom layer off. See, that's the initial layer that goes down there. And Then he has right where the thing is, where his crosshairs would be for his eyeballs, where he did that. That's going to be the start of his webbing that comes in. So some people, now with Spider-Man's webbing, it all depends on how you want to do it. Some people draw a lot. There's some people that just really only do a few. I only do a few. I don't really get overboard. And they don't need to fully connect. They don't need to be insanely perfect for me. It just needs to follow the contour of the head, though. Like, you don't want to like go boop. That doesn't look right. You kind of want to follow the contour of the shape of his head. So, and since his head is round, you want it to bend in a way, even though this is going the opposite direction, you still want it to flow in a way with that this part would bend. So that's essentially how you draw Spider-Man's head right there. And you can go in and add the little, these are like, I don't know if you collected comic books back in the day, in 90s, they started doing this thing where they would do this. That's just to indicate shadow. Like a light is hitting this area, which is hitting this, and this is the shadow that's coming in that way. So it's mainly kind of like for maybe even a colorist indication for the colors to shade that area. But you can still like make him scowl, or you can just lightly go do this and shade this part if you're working black and white. And like I said, I don't draw his nose in, but you can shadow it still. There you go. And then the side of his head, you have some shading there too. So you can still do that. So that's how you have Spider-Man's head right there. I mean, there you go. If you want to draw Spider-Man's head, there you go. As you can see, I left some highlights here in his mask for, if light were to hit it. Sometimes I like to darken it completely, but it is what it is. And then you can even add a little highlight there. Maybe, I don't think they added highlights in the initial Spider-Man stuff, but I don't like that one. Alright, so that's essentially how you draw Spider-Man's head. But with the rest of his body, like I said, you wouldn't see too much of his neck here. Did I flip this? No, I didn't. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. I'm on the right layer. What am I doing? Why is it not drawing, everybody? Do you know why? Picture pages, picture pages. Alright, so you wouldn't see too much of his neck. So, his neck was going to come in this way, but there's a shoulder blade. Now, and I just drew the wireframe, but because I kind of know how I want my muscles to go, and I angle. Once again, I like angles. I am drawing this really thick, by the way. I normally would use a thinner thing, maybe. But I'm going to go ahead and put in his... I like to draw him lanky. Spider-Man isn't a really insanely... Even though he's strong, he's not buff. And his leg comes in... See, I already have the wireframe down, because this top part was his... That's his upper part of his thigh, of his leg. And this is going to come in. So... There you go. Look at... It's already starting to take structure. So, but that's going to go... His hand here is going to go behind... Or his arm is going to go behind his leg. It's too skinny. There we go. And then you can put in his back. You can follow the contour here, which is going to come down this way. And then there's the outside of his back. And you get his butt. Drew it too high. Is going to come down this way. And then you get his butt. You get his butt. Alright. And, it's doing it again. Yeah, okay. I know, no selection was made. Alright. And it gets unnerving, really. Control D. There we go. So there you go, there's that. And you can kind of draw in his costume as you go too. His costume's pretty simple. Once again, I draw my Spider-Man a little lanky. You put his hand up in here. I stretch things out. I move things around. There's his thumb. I could always show hands later. Right, he's making a fist. I'm not going to tighten that in too much because I got to do other stuff with it. So that's going to come in that way. That, and you got his costume there. And his chest is coming in this way. You're going to get a rib cage here. His upper thigh is a little too small, so we're going to thicken that up. Whee! Alright. And he's got his costume comes up like that. And that way. There you go. It's like a belt in a way. It's weird. And that's his tummy. His thumb. Alright, and since we already drew the wire part of his leg, there you go. Boom, pop that out. And you can even fix that. It looks a little off because of this area here, and it's going to come back. So what we're going to do is going to move it up a little bit. So we're going to put it up here. There we go. And then put in that foot. Arch. Out. And then this is just playing with foreshortening. There you go. Well, let's get that hand back in there. His arm going to come out. You got his forearm pops up, forearm muscle, and then his hand going to pop up. Extend that first finger, make it look a little cool. There you go. Alright. And what I like to do after this is said and done, I like to hide the underdrawing. Yeah, looks pretty solid. All right. And right there is how I draw Spider-Man. I mean, that's no joke. Like, that's really it. The rest is just laying in costume, cross-hatching. Like, you can see, it's nowhere near a typical hero format. It doesn't look... Like, I'm going to fix the chest area. I didn't care too much for, so we're going to fix that. There you go. Tum-tum. And then it's not a regular hero look. He doesn't look totally human, so to speak. He's stylized, and that's how I like to draw it. This is the back of his back, and his symbol's going to be here. There you go. And you're not going to see the other part of his costume. So, and the rest of it then is just placing in his costume, getting that webbing in there. I didn't draw on his foot. Because the reason why I didn't put this in here is because I would put webs. He'd be holding. And with digital, it's a lot easier to do his webbing. McFarlane started all this, and now everybody does it, where you like make the webs intertwine through each other, and it looks really dope. So there you go. You know, this is essentially how you draw Spider-Man, and I'm speeding through it. Because these are sketches. These aren't insanely developed pieces. I can never always forget which way the webbing goes. I think it goes this way. And when you do the webbing, you want to contour to the shape of his whatever area it is. If there's a muscle bump there, you're going to want to, go around it, go up it, his forearms, and make it look like it's got shape to it. Like all right, we'll do this shoulder part. Right, let me get rid of that line that showed you the back. All right, so let's do this. As you can see, you're gonna. That's how it would bend. So you're gonna bend that to the shape of that shoulder blade. And then the tricep area. So once again, his shoulder's like a ball. So you're gonna ball it up, and you can go in and then add in, little cross hatchings and stuff if you want to with him. Yeah, I think it bends towards his head. So there you go. I mean, this is it. The rest of it is just his costume. And one of the things I like to do with things that go further in the background, they're not getting as much detail, by the way. The further back it is, the less you're gonna see. So you can still do the webbing. You don't have to be as precise with it. And then I like to always either, see, I came off the line there. Okay. I like to add these little lines that go back to indicate that it's in shadow a little bit, and it adds that little extra oomph. And the bottom of his feet don't have webbing, by the way. So I like to just add some detail there. But there you go. Contour, 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 contour. So there's that. And I forgot this foot. There you go. Boom, boom. Look at that. See? There you go. Contour. There you go. And then I'm actually going to get rid of that to add more webbing. And this one you don't have to make as detailed. Whee! There you go. There's Spider-Man. I'll color him later, maybe add some highlights. So there you go. That's it. That's how I draw Spider-Man. So like I said, that's how I draw Spider-Man. There's plenty of ways to do it. I drew an action pose. I didn't draw him just standing there. There's plenty of tutorials out there. I mean, I don't know if this is really tutorials as much as it's just, hey, let's have some fun and let's draw things in dynamic poses, make them look really cool and fun. You got a good idea how I draw his head. That was more in there. And this one I'm going to save. And maybe the next video I do, then I will tighten him up, fix things that I don't like, make it a time lapse, talk over it, and then you can see, maybe even do traditional cut grad coloring or just some other types of coloring. I'm not a colorist by trade. I do know how to. I like watercolors actually more than anything traditional. But anyway, enough said about that. Everyone go check out Frog G. That's my comic book I got out there with my friend Ink Spots and Frog G himself. We are having a lot of fun doing this. I currently finished a page last night, so we are trucking along. I finished page 20 out of a 48-page, fully colored graphic novel about a man. I'll play the trailer. I'll play the trailer and let Luke narrate over Pedro's beautiful animations. 48-page fantasy. It's Spider-Man meets Hellboy in a way. So I do like drawing Spider-Man. He's fun. But thank you once again, everybody, for watching. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. And see you in the next one. Have a great one. Later.
We've all read the story. The brave hero conquers the diabolical villain and rescues the damsel in distress. But this is real life. And in real life, stories don't always have happy endings. Frog G, the story of a man turned into a frog by a voodoo priestess sent on a mission to kill a god by death itself. Now our hero must roam the underworld to regain his humanity and win back the woman he loves.